everybody, welcome to another Crafting with Kimberly. Today I am going to be talking to you about sewing cards, and we're actually going to make one from a magazine. So before you do this, make sure you've watched Lauren's video, Learning with Lauren, about sewing. This is a really simple craft and a way to practice and learn how to sew. That's really kind of the point of a sewing card. You can still get these today, but I'm actually going to just make my own out of a magazine. So we got this magazine in the mail at the site, The Impressionist. And it's literally just full of pictures of Impressionist art. And so I just picked out one of Van Gogh from 1887. The original of this painting can be found at the Met. So I pulled it out of the magazine, and what I do is I've got a hole punch, I have got some yarn, and some scissors, and tape. So that's pretty much it. I liked this photo. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a hole punch, and I'm gonna go around the edges and hole punch so that I have holes to put the yarn through. And then I am going to basically make my own needle and thread using, oh my goodness, using this yarn and tape. So about a yard is from the nose to the end of your hand, however you want to word that. Yard. I'm gonna do 2, 3, I don't know how long this is gonna take me. I've never done it before, so 4, that sounds good. And I'm gonna cut it right there. And then what I'm doing, I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to wrap it around the end of this piece of string or yarn. And you may need some help from an adult doing this because I'm struggling with it right now. But you want to get it kind of tight around the end of your yarn. And I really cut too big of a piece of tape, so I'm still wrapping it right now. And I am almost done. And then we're gonna do this thing. All right, so I have my tape wrapped around the bottom of my string to create kind of the point of my needle. And I am going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing in just a minute. I'm gonna let you watch me punch the holes and do a little bit of sewing, and then I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so I am done. I learned a few lessons while I was working on this particular craft. One is that my hole punch couldn't necessarily reach into the center of the page. So one thing that I ended up having to do was fold down the sides of the page so that I could actually get my hole punch into where I needed it on the page to make the hole. So that's one lesson learned, and also why you see some random holes off to the side, because I had folded it, so I was actually hole punching through 2 pieces of paper at the same time. So what I'm going to do in just a minute is I'm actually going to cut around the edge to cut those extra holes out, and I'll show it to you when I'm done. The 4 yards actually worked out perfectly for me for the size of the paper. You can see how much string I have left. And one thing that I ended up doing as well is I ended up doing a back stitch. So that I was actually kind of doubling back. I was coming through the hole in front and going back on each one. So that just, rather than like a running stitch, worked for me because I didn't want any gaps in my paper. So you can stitch it however you want. You could go across it if you want, if you didn't want to see his face. So you can do this, stitch through the holes however you want. It was really quite easy. I just went through all of it around the edge, and then at the end, I just did a double knot at the back and cut my extra off, and I was done. And so this is a really cool opportunity to work on your sewing skills, embroidery skills. It helps work on your dexterity with your fingers, and it's just kind of relaxing, honestly. So what I'm doing is careful not to actually get into any of the actual string. I don't want to cut that and mess up my drawing. So let's see. Done. Look at them. All right, well, I hope that you've had fun learning about sewing cards with me. You can do it with magazines, you can do it with construction paper. A lot of times, I mean, obviously this one's a little flimsy, so you can do it with cardboard too, and have something a little bit sturdier. But again, don't forget to watch Lauren's video on sewing so you can learn a little bit about the history behind it. And I hope you enjoyed this Crafting with Kimberly. Thanks.